The smoke hung thick in the dimly lit poker room. Overhead chandeliers flickered, casting shadows across the green felt tables. The clink of chips, the shuffle of cards, and the quiet murmurs of tension filled the air. In one corner, a man sat alone, unassuming, almost invisible. No flashy suits, no booming laugh, no entourage of admirers. Just a quiet nobody, staring at his cards with the calm focus of a monk. Nobody knew his name, nobody knew his story. Yet tonight, he would do something the world of professional poker had never seen. He would defeat the greatest players on earth and vanish without a trace. The high-stakes room was a palace of tension. Claymation patrons sat rigidly in chairs, their faces exaggerated with anxiety and greed. Dealers moved methodically, sliding stacks of clay poker chips across the green felt. Cameras in miniature corners recorded every hand, capturing expressions, twitching eyes, and subtle gestures. Every professional in the room was at the top of their game, from seasoned champions to daring newcomers, and they all assumed they had seen it all. Then he arrived. The quiet player entered the room unnoticed. His jacket was simple, his hat pulled low. Observers barely registered him. The narrator's voice cuts in. Some people come to the table to play, some come to be seen, but some come to erase themselves from the story entirely. He nodded politely to the dealer and took his seat. The other players glanced at him dismissively, confident in their own skill. Who was this man? What could he possibly know? They would soon find out. The first hand began like any other. Clay cards shuffled with exaggerated flips, chips stacked in neat pyramids. The quiet player folded, checked, and occasionally raised small amounts. Nothing extraordinary. The other players laughed at him, shared small talk, sipped their drinks, all the while underestimating the silent figure. But slowly, the pattern emerged. He played not just the cards, but the players themselves, reading their gestures, timing, and breathing. In Claymation, each tiny hand flick, eye twitch, and nervous tap is accentuated, giving the viewer a sense of suspense and observation. As hours passed, his stack began to grow, not through reckless risk, but through subtle, precise moves. He would call a large bet at the exact moment a rival revealed anxiety in their expression, fold when a champion overplayed their hand, and raise just enough to pressure them into mistakes. The camera pans over the tiny clay players' faces, showing disbelief, frustration, and rising panic. "He's just lucky," muttered one seasoned pro. But luck, as the narrator explains, is rarely responsible for winning streaks this consistent. This was skill, but not the kind anyone had seen before. By midnight, the room was tense. The quiet player had amassed chips beyond anyone's expectation. High rollers whispered, trying to guess his strategy. Dealers adjusted their posture, carefully watching every movement. The air was thick with anticipation. Then came the hand that would cement his legend. The pot was enormous, stacks of clay chips teetering precariously. One professional pushed all in, confident in his royal flush. The quiet player paused for several seconds, then called. Cards revealed, he had a full house. Gasps and mutters filled the room. The pro's confident smile froze into disbelief. How did he know?" murmured a young challenger. The narrator interjects. "He didn't know the cards. He knew the people." By the early hours, the quiet player had won virtually every table he touched. Some tried to study him, noting the way he tapped chips in rhythm, the slight turn of a head, the flick of a thumb. He appeared human, but almost supernaturally perceptive. The cameras recorded everything, and the footage, when reviewed later, would show nothing. No signals, no devices, no cheating. Just a man who played poker as if he could see the intentions of others, bending reality with every hand. And then, as abruptly as he appeared, he vanished. Claymation sequence shows an empty chair. The green felt littered with stacks of chips and cards, smoke curling lazily from the extinguished candle at the center of the table. Dealers search, asking patrons if anyone saw him leave. Cameras capture only the chair he had sat in, now empty. The chips remain untouched, as if the night had been a dream. "He disappeared into legend," the narrator intones. No name, no trace, only the memory of the hands he played and the fortunes he claimed. The aftermath was chaotic. Professional players attempted to piece together what had happened. Some questioned if he had been a ghost, a myth, or perhaps even a team of people operating in perfect coordination. Poker forums buzzed with speculation. Could anyone truly read a table this well? Was it psychological mastery, photographic memory, intuition, or something more? Claymation newspaper headlines spin across the screen. The ghost player of Vegas, nobody beats everyone, and then vanishes. Legend or myth? Despite investigations, no one ever found him. Casinos reviewed security footage, questioned every observer, scrutinized chip movement. Nothing explained his presence or his disappearance. Some believed he was an undercover investigator, testing casino integrity. Others whispered darker theories. Perhaps he was an eccentric genius, someone with unparalleled skill who refused fame. Whatever the truth, his story spread like wildfire across poker circles worldwide, becoming a legend that haunted every high-stakes table. In Claymation, the next scene shows professional players practicing obsessively in miniature poker rooms, the ghost player's seat forever empty. They replicate his moves, trying to anticipate what he might have done, but always fall short. He played as if he was invisible, one champion murmurs, stacking chips carefully. The narrator explains, some players chase money, others chase fame, but the ghost player chased only the game itself and disappeared before either could define him. Months turned into years. The ghost player's legend grew. Books were written, documentaries planned, yet no interview, no photograph, no trace of him ever emerged. The poker world became obsessed with replicating his skill. Claymation sequences illustrate miniature clay players practicing endlessly under dim lights, their shadows long and exaggerated, fingers twitching over tiny chips. Still, the ghost player remained a mystery, a specter of perfect strategy and psychological insight. In the Claymation retelling, we see his last hand in vivid detail. The pot is enormous, chips stacked sky-high. His opponents sweat, eyes flicking nervously, cards trembling in their hands. He folds one hand, calls another, raises just enough to force mistakes. Every micro-expression is accentuated in clay, giving the audience the sense of tense observation and near omniscience. When he finally stands, he quietly leaves, coat draped over a chair, hat pulled down, footsteps barely audible, leaving chaos in his wake. The narrator reflects, legends don't always leave a footprint. Some leave a shadow, a story whispered in hushed tones at tables where only the brave dare to play. The ghost player didn't cheat, didn't lie, didn't boast. He simply existed where others could not, and left a world of gamblers forever changed. The animation shows empty poker rooms, smoke curling lazily, the faintest hint of a clay figure in the shadows, gone before the light fully touches him. The story concludes with reflection. Casinos increase security, psychological profiling, and behavioral analysis, all in an attempt to prevent another ghostly player. Forums and professional circles dissected his strategy endlessly, but no formula could capture him. He remained unpredictable, elusive, and untouchable. Claymation cameras pan across miniature Vegas streets at night, neon reflecting in puddles, players leaving empty-handed or bewildered, unaware that somewhere the ghost player may still be observing, always a step ahead. The moral, as the narrator intones, is clear. Mastery isn't just about knowledge or luck. Sometimes it's about understanding people, patterns, and probability in a way that defies expectation. Some skills are invisible, some legends intangible, and some, like the ghost player, vanish forever, leaving nothing behind but awe, disbelief, and a story retold for generations. In the final scene, a single chair sits empty in a poker room, chips scattered, cards slightly askew. A small shadow flickers across the wall, then vanishes, leaving silence, mystery, and legend.